It is really subtle. So now I'm just seeing, again, I'm going, so it's just here into the palm of her hand, and I'm just seeing if I get a little bit of buoyancy. And so it's really important that she rises to in my finger and settles at the same tempo. So notice I'm not here. See, if I go too fast, see, I'm going to get much more work out of the upper arm than I'm doing from below. Now, for those of you that need, feel free. Any kind of ball will do. Now, again, to show, this is a great example of showing my part. What I'm doing is coming in, and I just want to see, can I get that hand to rise and to come down again. I'm not going to use the ball like this, but just I'm using the ball as, so see how I'm not letting her push in? And then hopefully come back. See the way that gravity responds differently to that. Do you see that? She's in. So, but if I come here and allow her, see, I can do a whole wrist thing from this. Oh. Am I leaning too much?
Is it recording?
It's recording, but it's just the angle. So, sorry. Is that better? Okay. So if I'm here, right, I can do a whole thing if I want on the wrist. See how I'm getting the wrist to come over the hand and come down. But I'm not doing this. Do you see the difference? So I'm not getting the buoyancy. So it's the same thing. Now I can use this to my defense underneath the hand. Now this lesson really is to perfect your touch. Now I was too much on the hand. Now I'm coming over. So in this case, I prefer not to. But again, you're going to have people, okay, let's say she does have CP. I'm letting her have a knuckle sandwich. Now normally maybe she'd be more here. Again, see if I can use the fingers to my advantage. Now, do you see, I don't care where your pieces and parts are, I'm working on the quality of your inner movement. Now, here I can feel where the wrist is more involved, let's say, than right here. See how the ulna wants to rise a bit more with this information versus me coming under the radius. See, right here, she's giving me a bit of, that's okay. Now, I'm going to start switching over, now more with my left hand. Or the left side. Hi, you found me. I know. So again, if I go the finger straight out, now the next way of going in here, we're only going to do from this now into the thumb. It is a really big misconception of open and close. Grasp, not to grasp, holding a pencil. But guess what? If you don't have buoyancy here, you're not grabbing anything. Your body regulates how heavy, how thick, how something it is based off of the leverage it gets from the buoyancy factor between the thumb and the pointer. Versus where you have a child, let's say, that has issues with thumb or trying to grab. This is really a function that's not there, right? Which a child first gets by touching breast tissue. This is where all of this also comes from. When they're touching the mom's breast, that's also a pre-stand because they're learning those functions within the bone, right? So I'm here, and now on my left side, as I'm working with this, I really want to take into consideration how I'm going in between the thumb into the palm of the hands. See how your weight transfer now from See now how the fingers are all getting different mapping, neural mapping. Now I can't stress enough, so let's go for a tight hand. I'm gonna give you a little bit here, just so, if you, again, we're working, so let's say you're tucking the thumb. Please do not stretch them out. It's okay. Use a prop. See how I'm rolling this ball, but I'm getting right underneath that palm of the hand. Now I get it, you're not gonna get the kid to lie there. This is a great one to do after bath, as they're going to sleep, when they're sleeping.
Chancellor, what exactly I do on this big fair?
I'm just using the ball for the buoyancy, but I'm not sitting here trying to stretch her out, right, and making her all straight, right? It's very common if someone's fisted like this to want to pull here, right? The trick is, especially if they just had the stroke or whatever, you actually curl in and let the release come here. But really what's overlooked, even though she's here with the fisted hand, I'm right in between the thumb and the pointer, and I'm just working on the buoyancy. See? What?
Which are the parts of the body that are suggested to be worked while the child is sleeping? Because most likely it's discomfort for the child, or you cannot do it more than for a minute, whatever.
Well, it's not that it's discomfortable to the child, this isn't discomfort, but they won't have the patience.
Sorry, I expressed myself wrong.
No, it's okay. But any part of the body you want to work on that they don't want you to work on when they're awake is what you hit when they're asleep.
Okay.
Usually it's the head, but feet, fine motor skills. So like with my son with autism, like say the pillow was here, oh, tonight, we're gonna switch the pillow, and I put the pillow there. That threw his autism. I'm like, dude, you're gonna get a lesson. Put your head there, fall asleep. And my head goes there, you know what I mean? But he would learn. But see how I can this is where I can really use this prop to my advantage to get that rotation from my two hands. Hopefully you really see too, it's like working on the head. But see how you're really learning how to come down around my hand, but I'm not, again, forcing this movement. Another thing is, does Quinn have her stick? Is it right there in her privy or prom?
It's in the car, actually.
Oh, okay. Well, here, give me that pen there, please, or somebody. Sorry. This is another thing you can do. I can use this to my advantage. Okay, she's grabbing it. See how I'm lightly, in a sense, pulling?
Like with the nose?
Very good, just like with the nose. So that's another way of doing it. The stick also is another way too, so go to grab it. See how I can add to that visual rotation while she's grabbing it, right? Versus being right here and expecting her to get all the way here, which might be difficult grab, and I get that underneath like this. I can very easily work. That's another way of playing with it. This is a great way too. Oh, Enrique did it with Quinn with the glasses. She was busy pulling off the glasses, right? Grabbing his face, but right there with the hands. While she's grabbing the glasses. Again, you're pulling on my hair, right? But what am I doing? I'm rotating it right out. I can get in the elbow across midline. I don't care. This might be the first time where she's pulling, right? So I might be sitting here like this and working on, I'll use my body if I have to. So that's what we are after, not so much all the different props. You don't need to play with everything, but basically just look at your client and how they are. And this is what I want you to start doing, coming up underneath. So I'm really just one or two fingers.
But you are slightly pulling the bones inside the wrist.
It's not so much that I'm pulling, yes, I want them to, oh, where are my ping pong balls? Oh, sorry, they're right on top of the piano, thank you. One set's fine. So imagine, right, she's got a quarter of her bones in both hands, right? Quarter of her bones in both feet. So as I'm working, right, I'm just underneath, just imagining where each bone is. I don't need anatomy, but what I want, this, let's say, part of her palm to rise. I want this part of her palm to rise. And the way, so if I'm underneath here like this, I put a bunch of these in her hands, right? No difference, and you can see how I'm just looking to start to affect her buoyancy in the hands. So because when she's putting her hand to the floor, right, ideally, the palm is what's gonna look for the floor, right? But if you right, and that's where we'll be going with the feet tomorrow. I figured it's too late in the day to do feet, your brains will be like, ugh. So you want, but you're taught the feet do this. So when heel toe, no, it needs to, and then walking backwards especially. Coming down, right? It'll look, yes, a stretch. It'll look like it's elongating, yes, and all of that. But really, the biggest function that's missing with the kiddos when they're starting to go into ambulatory responses, trying to make movement, is the lack of that interaction, whether it's the wrist, the hands, fingers. And again, if you look at a baby, their toes, they can sort of wave to you. I can still do it, but most of us lose that feature just because we haven't played with it. But if you see people that are born with no arms, you know, what can they do with their bloody feet? Diaper a baby. Can you imagine? People complain when they're overhead with 2 hands, and they're sitting there. And if you haven't seen it, it's on YouTube. The woman's brilliant, and she can just pull the baby in 2 feet, get those little things in the diaper tabs. Diapers are babies. Puts it in the, all in her feet. So I want to give her a lesson and look to see what her body feels in. So if you need to use the props, by all means, you know, if you have to deflate her ball or whatever, that's no problem. We can blow it back up. But just, I just am looking for just coming underneath the palm, and we'll go from there. Any questions?
Could you please repeat this movement if this finger is inside?
Yeah, so that movement there, what we're doing is just sort of like we're turning buddy. No, I'm not looking to flip. I'm looking for the buoyancy. So see here, that's what gets your natural grip going. So if I'm reaching for a pencil, my brain will decide how big, how heavy this pencil is based off of this. Now eventually I can do here and here, that's why I can do something like that, right? Because I've learned how to manipulate, you know, you see people do quarters on their knuckles, those kind of things, right? Because they know how to regulate these movements. Kids do this from all fingers. We pay attention to the thumb, but the thumb needs to be able to regulate, just like the mouth. We put stuff in our mouth for that reason. Right? So here. So when you're doing this, even though a child might be spastic, you still can do, or you can do it with your finger, you can do it here. All depends on the way that the person's presenting, how you can help them.
Can we say you're just amplifying the response to gravity because we can
That's what movement lesson is. It's all about how you respond to gravity. So if this pencil is on the table, right, I shouldn't be like, oh my gosh, it's not Princess and the Pig. So if I'm here, look at the difference, look at the difference. My body starts to decide how I'm going to respond, not to how big something is, but also how I move around it.
Michelle, do you work your way up on the fingers? So for example, which fingers are a little bit stiff when I go backwards? So they seem to be fine like this.
Right now, all I'm looking for is just like if this was a hot air balloon, right? And here's my hand, and it's rising up, right?
I think if you find this, you find the fingers.
Well, the fingers now know how to respond more as a unit, and then go from there. We'll get to the fingers too, but right now I'm just looking for that buoyancy. And when you work on somebody, hey, you might think that their wrist area needs it more, but going into the hand. And then tomorrow we'll have a little guy on the table to start to see if we can get to show you how to do it on the little hands.
So it's just much more understandable than Belhead, because I've been doing Belhead, but for me it was like an invented thing. But now I see it has a function into it.
Everybody wants to help you, right? But what they are looking for is action. So they just see fingers touch a ball, pincer grip. But nobody's looking at, you know what I mean, like, to do a pincer grip in this position, like what? Because again, I don't have that buoyancy, I can't bring my hand around, I don't have that interaction. You know, most 11-month-olds would just rip a flower off of, and my grandson, who just turned 21, at 11 months old, could just squat, look at a flower like this, and then let it go. I was like, and he just should have been nurtured. He was good at sports, but he wasn't, you know. And the same thing with Felipe. He had to have had high-end skills at a young age, you know, to know all of that. But you can watch him just juggle and do balls because that's just all he knows. But, you know, it's just all the way that we do it. But coming to the table, again, coming to the table versus, you know, again, Isla is just learning now to stomp her feet, right? Force is actually learned after the pretty stuff, the fine work, the buoyancy stuff. So,